Ladies and gentlemen, how sweet it is. President Trump wins again. Democrats lose again. And this is becoming a pattern. This is becoming a pattern, ladies and gentlemen. 3 years of a Mueller probe. And they couldn't fit any of the Trump Jr. meeting, the 30-plus indictments, nothing. They couldn't fit the obstruction of justice. They couldn't fit the contacts with Russian officials or operatives or whatever they claimed without evidence. Nothing to do with the Mueller probe or Crossfire Hurricane. Nothing to do with any of that was included within the articles of impeachment. Want to know why? Because everything was a farce and a sham and a theatrical performance and a complete and utter debacle for Democrats. They fabricated and set up Trump. We know that because they couldn't include any of their prior investigations. No tax returns, no Mueller probe, no nothing into the articles of impeachment. The articles of impeachment basically said, we don't like what you did, we're going to impeach you, and oh, by the way, you're stopping us from investigating you. Now you have swing vote GOP Senator Alexander comes out against witnesses, paving way for imminent Trump acquittal. Imminent Trump acquittal. I love that. I love that word. Imminent Trump acquittal. Senator Lamar Alexander, I want to read you. So this was the fourth vote that could have prolonged this sham impeachment in this impeachment nonsense. President Zelensky stated there was no quid pro quo. There's no direct evidence Trump withheld military assistance because he was afraid of Biden. By the way, look at The Hill. The publication The Hill. Bloomberg is number 3 now. He surpassed Warren in a national poll. Do you think that Bloomberg has the third, most passionate fan base or, voter support? No. This whole thing is a farce to pave the way for Madam Secretary. Hillary Clinton will be the nominee. This is a political machine. But here, anyway, Senator Lamar Alexander, this is hilarious. There's no quid pro quo. There's no direct evidence of anything. The Bidens should have been investigated, number one, because what they did was not only a conflict of interest, Joe Biden interfered in another country's election and in another country's politics. Could you imagine if Ukraine told Trump to fire Comey? Why is Biden telling Ukraine to fire Shokin? Shokin, by the way, wants a criminal probe of both Bidens. But I'll read you this. I worked with other senators to make sure that we have the right to ask for more documents and witnesses. This is Lamar Alexander trying to give an olive branch to Democrats. This is so hilarious. Trying to give an olive branch to Democrats, trying to say, look, I agree with you. Oh, my goodness, Trump is a bad person. But, I just couldn't do anything about it. So this is hilarious. I worked with other senators to make sure that we have the right to ask for more documents and witnesses. Well, why'd you do that? There's no quid pro quo. Anyway, but there is no need for more evidence to prove something that has already been proven. Like what? That he's afraid of the No Malarkey bus tour? I don't think so. Nobody's afraid of Biden. Biden has stated he wants to be a one-term president. Biden has stated he wants a Republican vice president. Biden has basically tells people to vote for somebody else. He's completely phoned it in. He's done. He's not even campaigning anymore, really. He's told coal miners to learn to code. His campaign is losing money. Are you kidding me? But this is hilarious. But there's no need for more evidence to prove something that has already been proven and that does not meet the U.S. Constitution's high bar for an impeachable offense. There you go. There is no need for more evidence to prove the president asked Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden and his son, Hunter. He said this on television on October 3rd, 2019. and during his July 25th, 2019 telephone call with the president of Ukraine. No, he didn't say, please investigate Biden for me. Nah, he didn't say that. But anyway, there's no need for more evidence to conclude the president withheld United States aid, at least in part, to pressure Ukraine to investigate the Bidens. No, Ukraine didn't even know the aid was withheld. And the foreign minister, the previous President Poroshenko, and the current President Zelensky, all three have stated there was no quid pro quo, no pressure. The House managers proved this with what they call a mountain of overwhelming evidence. So he's trying to, give them the olive branch. They have broken, they've taken Lamar Alexander's olive branch and, tried to shove it up, where. There's no need to consider further the frivolous second article of impeachment that would remove the president from asserting his constitutional prerogative to protect confidential conversations with his close advisors. That's awesome. True. It was inappropriate for the president to ask a foreign leader to investigate his political opponent. Actually, Joe Biden's name is Joe Biden. It's not Trump's political opponent, Biden. You should tell the Southern District of New York not to investigate Clinton's political opponents. You should have also told Comey and McCabe and Strzok and Clapper and Brennan not to investigate President Obama and Hillary Clinton's political opponent in Trump. But anyway, it was inappropriate for the president to ask a foreign leader to investigate his political opponent and withhold United States aid to encourage that investigation. He didn't do that, so nobody has direct evidence of that. And if that's the logic, then Clinton received money from Uranium One, millions, and that influenced President Obama. So if you want to use that logic, let's use that logic. But anyway, when elected officials inappropriately interfere with such investigations, it undermines the principles of equal justice under the law. We don't have equal justice. If we did, Clinton would have been indicted. Which leads me to the pathetic imbeciles who think that, who say, yeah, Medicare for all, but then don't want Clinton indicted, which is hilarious, or didn't want Clinton indicted. It's like, yeah, even if that were feasible, which it's not, but let's say it is, why aren't Democrats passing a Medicare for all bill? Okay. Why didn't Warren have a budget already in place for her Medicare for all plan? Anyone wonder why? Because they're funneling votes back into the Democratic Party, and Bernie Sanders is basically a willing pawn. And a lot of the major pundits that got $20 million in venture capital who Bernie Sanders can't endorse, they're part of it also. So anyway, that's a whole other story. But here, when elected officials inappropriately interfere with such investigations, how do you know it was inappropriate? Biden should have been investigated under President Obama's administration. You cannot force another country to fire a prosecutor. Nobody gave Biden that authority. That wasn't U.S. foreign policy. They say it was. Well, President Obama hasn't stated he told Biden to force the firing of a Ukrainian prosecutor. Who are we? Can we just go into France or the UK? You think we could go? You think Macron would allow that? Well, what would he say? This is unbelievable. Why? So we treat France differently from Ukraine? Interesting. There's no corruption in France. There's no corruption in the UK. Does Biden go into tell Boris Johnson, hey, you know what? I want you to fire that prosecutor you have there, that official. No, he doesn't. He can't. They would laugh at Biden. But we expect Ukraine to listen to Biden. He's the one who engaged in the quid pro quo. But anyway. And his son just coincidentally, oh, what a coincidence. It's just a coincidence. Coincidentally, happened to be on the board of directors. It's because it was an image thing. Because what's his name was such a great image. Being kicked out of the military, all that, so whatever. Then Lamar Alexander says, when elected officials but the Constitution does not give the Senate the power to remove the president from office and ban him from this year's ballot simply for actions that are inappropriate. It was very appropriate, Extremely appropriate. Very good. Very good. The question is not whether the president did it. Well, he didn't, but whatever. But whether the United States Senate, you think he cares about Biden of all people? He knows Clinton's running. Tulsi Gabbard knows Clinton's running. H.A. Goodman knows Clinton's running. You know Clinton's running if you watch this channel. She's going to be nominee. It's a political machine. My God almighty. Have you ever spoken to somebody who is irrational? Have you ever met anyone in your entire life, God bless you, who's irrational? Who's not logical? Now, flip the script. It's a political machine. What you might think is irrational is actually rational. Losing but making money is rational in that system. But that's a whole other story. Clinton's going to be the nominee. If you watch this channel, you'll be light years ahead. And H.A. Goodman's other channel. Check that one. Check H.A. Goodman's other channel right now. The link is below. The question is not whether... Okay, I believe the Constitution provides that people should make that decision in the presidential election that begins in Iowa on Monday. That's hilarious. The Senate spent 9 long days considering this mountain of evidence, the arguments of House managers and the president's lawyers, their answers to senators' questions and House record. Okay. Even if the House charges were true, they do not meet the Constitution's treasons, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanor standard for impeachable offense. So what Lamar Alexander did, he spent like 5, 6, 7, 8 tweets trying to give out the olive branch, saying, hey, listen, Democrats, I feel your pain. I feel your pain. I feel your pain. Oh, my goodness, I feel your pain. Can I feel something else? I feel your pain, Democrats. I'm Lamar Alexander. I'm a good Republican like Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney. I coif my hair perfectly. I drink milk. I'm Mitt Romney. Democrats don't want... You should see that they're eviscerating. They're calling him a coward. They're dragging his name through the mud. Lamar Alexander. Look, Democrats are like Avenatti, Stormy, Al Franken, Schneiderman, Juicy Schmullier, anyone, Kim Jong-un, anyone, please give us somebody. It doesn't matter who they are. Comey, Strzok, McCabe, Clapper, anyone. You know, intelligence operative. Oh my goodness. Vindman, anyone. They're trying, like barnacles, they're trying to attach themselves to anyone who could possibly take down Trump in their warped brains. They think that Trump is such an anomaly that they can't even imagine. They can't imagine that Trump. They can't imagine that they lost to Trump. And the neuroses that they now have is just so that they're such arrogant narcissists. They can't admit they lost to Trump. Oh my God! But they did, and they keep on losing. Even if the House charges were true, they do not meet the Constitution's treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanor standard for impeachable offenses. The framers believe there should never, ever be a partisan impeachment. That is why the Constitution requires a 2/3 vote of the Senate for conviction. Yet not one House Republican voted for these articles. There you go. If this shallow, hurried, and wholly partisan impeachment were to succeed, it would rip the country apart, pouring gasoline on the fire of cultural divisions that already exist. There aren't profound cultural divisions, actually. We're actually more unified as a country than media would like to admit. A lot more unified. It would create the weapon of perpetual impeachment to be used against future presidents. Oh, it's already there. And the next time Democrats get the presidency, who knows when, it'll be used against them. Just like when they lobbied for a simple majority for Supreme Court nominees. Harry Reid, he really won on that one. Trump has 2, possibly, eventually, with somebody retires, 3. Our founding documents provide for duly elected presidents to serve with the consent of the governed, not the pleasure of the United States Congress. Let the people decide. There you go. And then, of course, you have, oh my God, you will be remembered as a coward. It's like, no, he won't. He'll be remembered as a Republican who didn't like Trump but looked at logic or had logic and reason. What are you going to do? You're going to accuse the president of withholding military assistance that Ukraine eventually got, that even the leaders of Ukraine stated there was no quid pro quo and leverage. So Zelensky is now part of it also? Give me a break. Give me your thoughts below. This is a victory, ladies and gentlemen. A victory. A monumental victory. This is probably one of the biggest victories for President Trump since election. Give me your thoughts below. Impeachment is done. Failed Democrats, as always. They failed. They have nothing. And they're going to lose miserably again in 2020, just like I said they would lose in 2016. NPR quoted me and 538. The article and the link is below in the pinned comment and description. Guess who was right? I said Clinton wouldn't win swing states. She would lose to Trump. 538 said that Trump wouldn't even be GOP nominee. Who was right? And I will be right again, and it'll be the biggest political call of all time. Clinton is going to be nominee and will lose to Trump again. And she'll run, and then the next call, she'll run in 2024. Give me your thoughts below. Thank you so very, very much.